Coming up, state championship season is officially here. We've got highlights from the Battle of Unbeatens in the North Dakota Class B Girls Championship game. Plus, we continue our Pick'em Challenge as we try to predict the champions of this next round of state tournaments. Varsity Sports starts right now. And hello and welcome to Varsity Sports alongside Jason Andera. I am Jay Elson. Jody Norstad will be joining us in just a few minutes from Fargo. But first, we already have one state championship in the books, Jason. 9 more to look forward to here over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, 4 more this week, 5 more next week. You're going to have to stay with us for those next couple of weeks. We want to be preview central right here on Varsity Sports, and I'm excited to see how these brackets unfold. We'll be with you every step of the way.
Yep, 'tis the season. With that, let's break down how the North Dakota Girls B unfolded in Grand Forks last weekend. And we start with a look at the bracket.
Yeah, let's take a look. First round matchups, all pretty good matchups. We did see the 5 seed, I guess, air quote, upset Watford City. And we did see Grant County take out Park River Fordville Lankin in the first round. But the undefeateds had no problem in the first round. In the semifinals, there was some breathing room there. Those top 2 teams are a little bit better than everybody else, and that's why it was Kindred and North Star playing on Saturday night.
And for more on that championship game, here is Jody Norstead.
Thanks, guys. You said it. This is the matchup that we all wanted to see in the Class B championship. And making it even better, North Star and Kindred both seeking their first state championship. It was a good crowd inside the Alaris Center. Future Bison Macy Quilvang trying to lead North Star to victory over future Fighting Hawk Michaela Renke and Kindred. Brooke Hyde is no stranger to this stage. She helped the Vikings to runner-up honors 2 years ago, and this 3 gave her team the early lead. North Star took the lead back when junior Steph Miller answered with her own triple. The Bearcats' offense started to click. Miller goes inside for Quilvang, who scores over the defense. But Kindred was deadly from beyond the arc. Madison Erickson shoots from right in front of the North Star bench, and that 3 ties the game at 9 apiece. The Vikings built the lead in the second quarter. Kira Broughton hits from outside. The Vikings pushed the lead to 5. Their full-court pressure was a factor too. 7th grader Abby Dukeshire steals it and sets up Renke for the left-handed layup. The Vikings looking unstoppable. Hyatt hits from outside again. She ended up with a team-high 15 points. Kindred led 22-15 at the half. But the Bearcats opened the third quarter on a 7-0 run to tie it. Quilvang scoring 2 more of her game-high 22 en route to being named tournament MVP. But it's Kindred getting the most coveted hardware. Broughton somehow gets it over the reach of Quilvang and in to make it a 9-point Vikings lead. Dukeshire, the youngster, stepped up big with 13 points off the bench, and in what turned out to be Perry Piazz's final game as head coach, the Vikings send him out on top with a 49-42 win and a perfect 26-0 season. Here's what the Vikings had to say after going out on top.
It's unreal going out as my senior year, knowing we made history for Kindred, undefeated. It's just amazing.
All the girls that came onto the floor gave it all their heart and all their efforts that they had, and like we said in the locker room before the game, sometimes heart is better than being athletic, and we have some big hearts on this team, and they gave it everything and put a lot of hard work in and did what we had to do to win.
We're going to hear more from Jody coming up in a bit as we get set to preview the Super A's in North Dakota. Stay tuned.
Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Mitchell Technical Institute and Farmers Union Insurance Agency.
This one means a lot, but it's not all the things. We've still got our eyes on the prize next weekend, so hopefully we can do it then. I think we just got to keep doing what we're doing. We've been playing a lot better as of late. Just started to work together as a team, keep getting it inside out, and I think we should be good.
And welcome back to Varsity Sports. That was Lucas Mayer, who led his Century Patriots to a 70-64 win over Minot in the West Region Championship. Time with that now to explore the State A tournaments in North Dakota and to talk a little bit more about these matchups that are coming up this weekend. Let's bring back Jody Norstead. Jody, first off, let's peek at the boys' bracket. Fargo Davies comes in undefeated. They take on Bismarck, who's 14-10, but playing in their hometown. How much pressure does Davies feel, do you think, coming in without a loss?
Well, I think they've gotten a little bit used to the word pressure. I mean, they've went through this entire season as kind of a marked team, being the undefeated team, the top team in the EDC. So I think they've gotten used to that. And they also have a really good group of seniors. Matt Bite leads the way, 17 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists per game. He really does it all for the Davies Eagles. And then he has the perfect complement inside in 6'7" post player Jake Paper, who averages 19 points per game and 12 rebounds per game. The Davies Eagles are going to be tough to stop. But the Demons, well, they have a trio averaging double digits in scoring, but I see Davies improving to 25-0 on Thursday.
All right, second game of the day. Two-time defending champs draw a tough matchup. We're treated to Minot and West Fargo right away. What do you expect in this one, Jody?
How about this for a first-round matchup? We get a rematch of last year's state championship game, you guys, and boy, Minot has been absolutely terrific, led by Kawan Johnson and Justin Eng, spearheading this senior-laden team that averages nearly 80 points per game. They also average 10 steals per game. West Fargo is kind of an up-and-down team, so to speak. The Packers really struggled in the EDC tournament, but this is the same team that can easily score 80 or 90 points on an opponent. Joe Pistorius is the key. He needs to get back on track for the Packers. He's struggled as of late. They'll need him to be at his best if West Fargo wants to make another run to the state championship game.
All right, Jody, how about Century now? This team comes in with a lot of confidence into this tournament. In the second half of the season, they've beaten Dickinson. Then they get a win against Minot in the region finals. Now they're going to square off with Shanley in the opening round. So tell us about these two teams and this matchup.
Yeah, the Patriots are kind of the dark horse in this tournament because you have Davies undefeated. You have Dickinson with the 2 D1 commits. And Century doesn't do anything pretty, but they play the best defense in the state. And that's what got them to win in the region tournament all the way to the region final. And now that's what has them playing at their best when it matters most. So Century's going to be tough to stop. Darren Matter's team is just built for March. And I think Shanley is going to have a tough time scoring. Jake Cava and Jake Reinholz both average over 17 points per game. The challenge is for those two to get it done against the best. And I think Century will be able to hold off Shanley in the first round.
All right, Cheyenne gets their first ticket to the state basketball tournament. They get to take on Dickinson.
Congratulations.
How does this matchup going to play out, Jody?
Well, how about these Mustangs? They beat West Fargo in the semifinal on a late three-pointer by Josh Thiele with about 7 seconds left. That sends them to state, a team that is really the Cinderella of this tournament, and they average 8 three-pointers per game. So Cinderella, a pretty good three-point shooting team, but they'll need a lot more than that even to beat Dickinson, because Dickinson, the top scoring team in the state with 83 points per game. Boy, Anna Moody is a star. The UND commit averages 31 points per game. He's the Class A scoring record holder, just passed that about a month ago. And then you have the 7-foot NDSU commit, Jordan Meininger. So not one, but 2 Division I commits on this team. Meininger is a beast, averaging 14 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game. The Midgets were ranked number 1 for a while, but they've had a few lapses, including being upset by St. Mary's in the WDA quarterfinals. But the Midgets definitely have championship potential.
Okay, Jody, a lot of good teams in this tournament. We've just talked about all of them, but let's put you on the spot here. Take your best guess. Who's going to be the Class A champ?
Well, I think Century is playing absolutely unreal right now, and defense, as they say, wins championships. So I think Century beats Dickinson. They have the recipe to beat the Midgets, but I think when it comes to the state championship game, give me Davies to finish a perfect season and beat Century in the final.
All right, well, there you have it from Jody Norstead. We are going to make our picks throughout the show as well. I have a 1-point lead on this guy with 9 state championships remaining. Remember, we're going to get the seed points if we correctly pick the winner, so more points for a bold prediction. Let's give you the first choice, Jandy.
I'm going to go with a little bit of a bold prediction. Not too bold,
That's
though.
not real
I think
bold.
Dickinson is going to win this thing. You've got 2 D1 players, and Anand Moody is a gamer. He's going to step his game up to match the intensity of this tournament.
It's hard not to consider Dickinson. I did heavily. Also thought about Minot, but I'm going to agree with Jody in the end. I like Davies. It's easy to go with the undefeated team. Question whether or not, how they're going to stack up against the West, because we haven't seen that yet. But boy, did they handle teams in the East. I just think they're really playing some good basketball. So I like the Eagles, like Jody. All right, well, stay tuned. Later on in the show, we're going to break down the South Dakota girls A and B tournaments. But next, we have more bracket breakdown from Jody Norstead on the North Dakota girls A tournament.
We we got a little experience in the state tournament last year now, and a lot of these kids are coming back again this year. And so we let our nerves get to us a little bit in that first round last year, and I don't foresee that happening quite as badly this year, hopefully. I mean, there was always going to be nerves in the state tournament, but I think it'll be better this year. We've got that experience under our belt, and we're going to come to play. We're on a hot streak right now, and we want to continue that.
Welcome back to Varsity Sports once again. That was Abby Thomas of Mandan after they beat Century in overtime, 59-57 for their 11th straight win.
On a roll right
It
now.
also gave them the West Region title and the top seed for this week's State A tournament, which is beginning Thursday in Bismarck. For more on that, we bring back Jody Norstead once again. Jody, the first matchup features a team that hasn't lost a game in March since 2013. I'm speaking, of course, of Shanley. They faced Bismarck in the opening round. Do the Deacons have a little swagger back after winning that East region?
Boy, that's a good question. The East has been so competitive this year, you guys, but when the dust settles, here we are again. Shanley, the #1 team in the East. And boy, since February 10th, I believe they've went 6-0. And now you have Emily Dietz, a walking double-double. The future Bison leading the way for Shanley. Riley Payne has stepped up as a freshman, averaging 16 points per game. The Demons have been playing well as of late. They had that nice win over Legacy to cap off the regular season. They have Montana State commit Coral Gillette leading the way. She's a nice player, but I see the Deacons winning this one, guys, by double digits.
Well, next game on Thursday's slate, Century Wahpeton. We've got some star power in this one, don't we, Jody?
You bet, and the Patriots are just such a strong program. They've made it to the state championship the last 2 years, but they've lost both those games. So they kind of have that as the driving force. They have 5 seniors, 7 juniors, very veteran squad. Reagan Dennis, the leader for that senior group, and she's a tough one to stop in the post, but so is 6'3" freshman Lauren Ware. Guys, she averages 12 points, 12 rebounds. She had 24 rebounds in the WDA final, a loss, but man, she has been terrific. She has colleges drooling all over her. She's going to be a D1 player for sure. Wahpeton counters with its own future D1 player in Tylee Irwin. The future SDSU Jackrabbit averages 25 points per game, 9 rebounds in her final season with the Huskies. They've won 6 of their last 7. Guys, this could honestly be the 2 best teams in the state going head-to-head in the quarterfinals.
All right, maybe the most surprising matchup, Mandan and Devils Lake. 2 teams that are playing pretty well right now. What should we look for in this one?
Well, how about Devils Lake? They beat West Fargo 59-58 to get into the state qualifier. Then they beat Central, and here are the Firebirds. They had 8 wins in all of the regular season. They have yet to beat any East team that made state. So that's how impressive this is for Devils Lake to just even be here. The Braves, well, they're the hottest team in the state. They've won 11 in a row. Mackenzie Higlin, their lone senior, is playing really well right now, guys. She's averaged 22 points per game over the last 4. Mandan's going to be tough to stop.
Well, we've got another great matchup in the quarterfinal round. That is Davies, who takes on Legacy. What do you see here?
Well, Legacy has that talented trio of Sydney Murphy, Whitney Thomas, and Mercedes Baumgartner. Now, Legacy got their feet wet. They made state last year, so I think that will help, just having that experience with them. They played Century tough. They played Mandan tough in the semifinals, so they could maybe pull off a surprise. But Davies has head coach Tim Jacobson, who won the last 3 state titles with Shanley. Now he has a new crew. Before losing to Shanley in the EDC final, it won 7 of 8 with just a 1-point loss to Wahpeton. The Eagles, they shoot the 3-ball extremely well too, 37%.
Okay, before you go, need one more prediction from you. Who's going to win the A?
Well, you're probably better off just flipping a coin for this one. But think about this. Century would have to go through Wahpeton and Shanley just to reach the state championship game. So I think that road is going to be too tough for them. I see Shanley beating Davies for a 4-peat and beating their old head coach, Tim Jacobson, in the championship. How much drama would that be, guys?
So, Jody likes the Deacons. Who do you have?
You know what? I'm going to go a little off the beaten path here. I like Legacy. I mean, they didn't show up with a big game in the semifinals in the Western region, but this is a team that's a lot of those 7 losses they have on the year came to out-of-state opponents. It's a little deceiving. Mm-hmm. They've been really tough against some of the best teams on their schedule. I think they can raise their game and take the tournament.
Could be a sneaky pick.
Okay.
Sneaky, surprising. I like my pick better, of course.
Of course you do.
I'm going with Century. I just really like the Patriots, what they've done over the whole scope of the season. And Shanley's the hot team now, but I just think Century's been a little bit more consistent to this point. All right, well, stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to move south where St. Thomas More and Sully Buttes are on the path to defend their titles. We'll preview the girls A and B in South Dakota right after this. Over the past 3 seasons, the St. Thomas More girls have not allowed for a whole lot of suspense in the state tournament. They've once again won all their games against Class A competition entering this year's state tourney, but 7 other teams are still holding out hope that they can be the one that brings that Cavalier reign to an end. Let's talk in depth now, Jason, about this tournament, starting with the champs. St. Thomas More takes on Madison.
Well, we all know St. Thomas More comes in as the heavy favorite. Let's talk about their matchup with Madison. The Bulldogs feature 3 juniors who all score in double digits. You got Jessie Giles, Nicole Brown, and Olivia Rudd. All tall, all can defend. That's going to be key in this game. They've got a really balanced team with some strong leaders as well. Their coach, Macy Michelson, wants to stay patient on offense going against St. Thomas More. And, of course, the lower they keep this game scoring-wise, the better chance they have to stay in this game. But you're going against Drew Gilton, Jaden Byes, Claire Kerr, some of the best defenders in the entire state. It's going to be so hard for them to score. Ashlyn Duffy, she leads this team in blocks as well. So I think defense really is what causes problems here for Madison. St. Thomas More is so good on that end of the court.
They are. Madison, though, a team to look out for into the future for sure. They're pretty young.
A lot of players back next year.
All right, game 2, Little Wound takes on Webster. Webster's a team that's been here quite a bit.
Well, that's the key here. They have the experience. They've made the state tournament now 4 years in a row. They've got 8 seniors on this squad. Haley Rithmiller, we've seen her take games over at the state tournament level. She's going to be key. Little Wound, on the other hand, much younger team, but they have their own 1,000-point scorer. Janae Jumping Eagle, she leads the way for them. She could be a factor here, but a tough matchup against a really seasoned group in Webster.
Another matchup of tournament-tested teams comes up next. Hamlin lost in the semis last year to St. Thomas More, comes back with a lot of experience. They take on a Vermilion team who wasn't necessarily supposed to be here.
Yeah, Vermilion punches their ticket. They took advantage of that Sweet 16 round format and pulled an upset over the 6th seed Belle-Fourche. They only start 1 senior on this team and get most of their scoring from Haley Melstead, Casey Jensen, a couple of juniors on their squad, and they get great play from their bench. That's going to be key in a 3-day format where you really need to use that depth, but they really lack the tourney experience that Hamlin has. Lexi Wadworth, she's a matchup nightmare. She is so tough to go one-on-one. She scored 73 points last year in the state tournament, and this year really she could do the same, especially with somebody like Chloe Grantham dishing her the ball.
Lennox and Del Rapids will round out that quarterfinal round. 2 teams playing pretty great ball right now.
These are 2 teams I pointed to before I saw the seedings and said they could make some noise in this tournament. Del Rapids, maybe the most battle-tested team in the entire field, have played a great schedule. They did lose back on January 9th to Lennox. That was the last time they've lost a game in this one. Since then, 15 straight wins with a couple of sophomores leading the way. Jada Canupi and Emma Paul leading their team in scoring. A lot of good young players in this one, but the best good young player, Madison Vlastrin. She is just a freshman, 16 points per game, first team all-conference, leads this Lennox team, has had a great season. Got a lot of help around her, but this is going to be an outstanding first-round matchup.
All right. Well, who you picking?
In this one, I think I've got to go with St. Thomas More. You can't overthink it.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do, too. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm going to go St. Thomas More. Until someone knocks off the Giant, it's hard to pick against them. So let's see what happens, but we both like the Cavaliers. All right, one more class to preview. The girls B. More star power than ever this year. Make sure to get the bracket breakdown right after this.
Varsity Sports on Midco Sports Network is presented by Mitchell Technical Institute and Farmers Union Insurance Agency.
All right, before we get into the breakdown, let's take a look at the depth in this year's State B field, Jason. I tell you what, this could be one of the best tournaments in this class we've seen in quite some time, just based solely on the star power and the number of quality teams we've got here.
I don't think Class B has ever been better than this year. They've had a great year, especially against Class A competition. You've got, a Warner team, a Sully Buttes, and an Ethan team who have accounted for all the championships in the last 4 years. It's going to be fun in Huron.
I think so. Let's move through the field now. Take a look at each individual matchup. The 1 versus 8, we've got Warner and Timberlake.
Yeah, how about Warner quietly earning that top spot in the class? They have lost on the year to Sanborn, Central Woonsocket, and Sully Buttes, but they've played a tough enough schedule to get those seed points to be that number 1 seed. And 6 of their 23 games, they've played against teams above 500, so they are battle-tested. Timberlake, on the other hand, They played them back on February 11th. Warner handled them 52-34, so there's some familiarity here. Lori Rogers is the player to watch in this game. She plays for Warner, a big presence in the post.
Second matchup, New Underwood and Sanborn Central Woonsocket. That's got to be discouraging for New Underwood to come in at 22-1 and see the Blackhawks standing on the other side.
You know, I don't think they're going to admit it, but New Underwood, their only loss came back in December to Faith, and their reward is to play Sanborn Central. I mean, they can't feel really great about that, but they do bring Brianna Phillipson, who's really one to watch. She scored over 1,500 points in her career, going for 16-9 this year, but on the other side of the slate, Maya Sellen, maybe the best player we've seen in this class in a long time. Over 2,100 points, 900 boards, and she just leads a solid team up and down. They are battle-tested, too. Sanborn Central, they got to feel a little weird with a 5 seed this year with such a good team.
Yeah, they played a really tough schedule, that's for sure. Sully Buttes are the defending champs. They come in with just one loss, an overtime loss to Ethan, mind you. They're pitted against Parker. What do you think about these teams?
Well, Sully Buttes, undisputed, the best duo combo in this entire class. Raquel Wenches, Chloe Lamb combined for 40 points per game, while their team only gives up 33.7. So you can play 2 against 5 here and feel pretty good. On the other side, Parker, they have 2,000-point scorers of their own. Riley Christensen and Lauren Hunstad. They will be trying to keep up the pace with Sully Buttes, but not enough athletes.
In the nightcap, Avon takes on Ethan. Ethan a surprise 3 seed based on what they've done this year. I don't know if there's ever been as good as a 3 seed as we've got here.
They've averaged a 36-point margin of win this year, haven't lost in the class, and get a 3 seed. That's how good this field is this year. But this is a team that from 1 through 6 on their roster, nobody can match up with these guys. Avon, on the other hand, they've got some good players on their own, but tough draw against Ethan.
All right, so who do you like?
I got to go with Ethan. They are the ones that have been tested. They played a tough game against St. Thomas More, the only team in the state to do that. I think they're going to rise up when the time gets crunch time.
You know, I can't disagree with you. I like Ethan as well. I think they're going to be your state B champions this year. But again, with a field like this, you just never know.